The Tomorrow War 2, Confirmation and Everything We Know. After years of waiting, The Tomorrow War 2 is finally moving forward on Amazon Prime Video, and there are some key details about the sequel. The original 2021 movie, The Tomorrow War, stars Chris Pratt as Dan Forrester, an Iraq War veteran and biology teacher. After U.S. soldiers from the future warn American citizens about an alien invasion in 2048, Dane travels through time and leads a recon mission. The Tomorrow War concludes with Dan defeating the Queen Whitespike in 2022 with the assistance of his father James, J.K. Simmons, and fellow draftee Charlie, Sam Richardson. The Tomorrow War received mixed reviews from critics, but the ambitious storyline clearly hinted at a much larger sci-fi universe that could be explored. Based on the Tomorrow War's ending and expansive storyline, was always potential for a space-themed sequel that explains the Whitespike's origin story. However, the sequel seemingly stalled almost as soon as it was announced, and it would take years for new updates to surface. Now, The Tomorrow War 2 has taken the next big step, and is getting closer to becoming a reality. The Tomorrow War 2 latest news. Several years after the first movie debuted, the latest news came in the form of a script update for The Tomorrow War 2. Screenwriter Zach Dean penned the original film, and he was tapped to draft the sequel script as well. Now, Dean has announced that the sequel script is finished, and that it's happening relatively soon. This news comes as something of a surprise, since Dean had previously revealed that writing was still underway back in October 2024. While Amazon Prime Video has been rather tight-lipped about the sequel's development, Dean seems to think that cameras are due to begin rolling soon. Few details about the sequel are currently known, but Dean's confidence suggests that he knows more about the project than most. While Amazon Prime Video has been rather tight-lipped about the sequel's development, Dean seems to think that cameras are due to begin rolling soon. It's important to note that Dean didn't have too many specifics to offer, and it's still somewhat unclear exactly where the film currently stands. Read Dean's full statement here. It's progressing. I wrote the second film. I know they've been continuing to develop that story. I think it's happening, and it's happening relatively soon. One of the great things about Chris is it's so easy to empathize and get into his character's head. He's so disarming in terms of his humor, and he's also really emotional as an actor. It takes a very different version but of similar ideas. Things that could have gone a darker way. The Tomorrow War 2 is in development. Netflix's film slate is huge, and the streamer is no stranger to making multi-million-dollar films exclusively for their platform. With that in mind, it wasn't really surprising that The Tomorrow War 2 was greenlit all the way back in 2021, shortly after the debut of the first movie. Original director Chris McKay and star Chris Pratt, along with several others, were also in talks to return to their respective roles. However, that's where things seemingly stalled, with the expensive franchise being developed for years on end. The Tomorrow War premiered on June 30, 2021. That all changed in February 2025, when screenwriter Zach Dean announced that the script was finished and that production was slated to begin soon. Though he didn't provide any specifics, Dean's reveal is the first concrete news since 2021. Unfortunately, little has been corroborated by Prime Video, and the exact status of the Tomorrow War remains murky as months and years continue to pass by swiftly. The Tomorrow War 2 cast details. The early updates regarding the cast of the Tomorrow War sequel mentioned that many of the original stars were in talks to reprise their roles, but it's unclear what's developed since 2021. Chris Pratt was the first name mentioned, and it's assumed that he'll reprise his role as Dan. Meanwhile, J.K. Simmons will also likely return as Dan's father, James Daniel Forrester, Sr., and his name was specifically mentioned in the early news for the sequel. Sam Richardson was in talks to come back as turned draftee Charlie. Furthermore, GLO alum Betty Gilpin was expected to reprise her role as therapist and Dan's wife, Emmy Forrester. The role of Colonel Murray Forrester, as an adult, was played by Yvonne Strahovski in the first movie, and she will probably come back too. Finally, Edwin Hodge was also one of the few names mentioned in the returning cast, and he could return as veteran draftee Dorian.